I just believe in the process, and we're going to win going through the process.
Now, Bills Mafia, it's time for the main event. So sit back and enjoy the show.
Hello and welcome to a special episode of Red, White and Buffalo Blues, a UK Bills podcast, Bills news with a UK twist. Alex, Matt here, and we are talking 53-man roster, which has been decided. We know which 53 are going into battle this season. Alex, what's your initial thoughts on it?
No surprises.
Okay.
I mean, we could be done with this video in 2 minutes. I mean, this is the team that we assumed, right?
Well, pretty much. I mean,
Yeah.
I can't remember. I think I had pretty much everyone on there. I didn't have on my 53. What did I have? I didn't have Taiwan Jones on there. I didn't have Vernon Butler on there.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, there are some things to talk about on this. I mean, I'm not gonna lie. I mean, hopefully nobody just said click, turned it off. But no, there are things to discuss here, and we'll go position by position, and we'll get an idea of what we're gonna see this year.
Yeah. So let's start with quarterback. Obviously, there's really much to talk about on there. Josh Allen, Mitchell Trubisky. I think they were always going to be the two. I think it would take something spectacular for Fromm and Davis Webb to actually make a roster or even to keep three. But both of them cleared waiver and ended up back on the practice squad. We really got anything to say on that?
Yeah, I mean, nobody's coming knocking for Jake Fromm. So if something happens, knock on wood, cross your fingers, cross your heart, hope to die. Anything happens, we'll have those guys who know the system, and that's fine with me. You know.
So I can't. Obviously, Davis Webb. I think.
Yeah,
he's winding down. I think he's the veteran. He's the guy that really will be helping Dorsey and the ball.
So, which one of those in an emergency situation does get called up?
I'm probably gonna. I want it to be Davis Webb because I think he's been in the system a little bit longer, and obviously Jake Fromm had that season where he had to be quarantined, so to speak.
Yeah, but he was still on the practice field.
It wasn't that much.
Still with the team.
Yeah, he was on his own. He was pretty much almost like training on his own.
Yeah,
so
okay.
He couldn't get any. He couldn't potentially be around anyone that could.
I mean, I think there's a slight edge for Fromm just because of the pedigree that comes along, being a draft pick, being successful in college. So, yeah,
there's probably arguments for both of them. I mean, to be honest,
I don't have an argument for Webb, so that's not coming from me.
I mean, let's do a what if one later on.
Well, yeah, I mean, like I said, I was going to say, we have a lot more about Allen coming later, so we don't need to talk about quarterback much more.
No. So let's go to running back. And we've got Devin Singletary, Zach Moss, Taiwan Jones, Antonio Williams on practice squad. Christian Wade's being sent to IR for pretty much out for the season.
And Matt Breida, you missed Breida.
Did I?
Yep.
What did I say?
Yep. You just went Singletary, Moss, Jones. That's fine. He's so fast. He ran right past you. You didn't even see him.
Any surprises there? I mean, I know there was for me.
I'm actually surprised, no, there's not, because these guys, this coaching staff adores and puts a lot of emphasis on special teams. So I'm not surprised that Taiwan Jones made the roster.
I kind of am, just because I know that obviously in the next section we've got my favorite in this roster, Reggie Gilliam, actually making the team who can play special teams, and there are other guys here that actually do see that actually can play that special teams role. And I think Taiwan Jones, he'll be gunner. That's it, and maybe he'll get the odd punt.
Well, I mean, there will be inactives every week, and I wouldn't be surprised to possibly see him on there, depending on the game script. If we need more corners or if we need more linebackers, or he might only see 6 games this year, possibly. So,
So as I say, next one we have Reggie Gilliam. I mean,
can you actually roll him in with the tight ends, because that's where I put him on my Photoshop picture. So.
Well, it probably is going to be a tight end more than anything.
I wasn't going to just give him his own, image. I know you wouldn't mind that, but I wasn't going to do an image just for him. So wide receivers, then we'll talk about Galen with the tight ends.
All right, we'll
All right.
I'll save him. But so wide receiver, then we've gone
Party
6 or 7 to start with, but that's now become 6.
Yep.
So Diggs, Beasley, Davis, Sanders, McKenzie, Jake Kumaro, Marquez Stevenson made it, but then just got put onto to IR. And
clearly the feeling for Stevenson was that he wasn't going to clear waivers for the practice squad.
Yeah, no, definitely not. I think
I don't know about definitely, but what is it, 5th round?
I don't think
pick?
Yeah, I mean,
those guys usually clear.
Yeah,
but he was explosive, and every team, not every team's got a good returner, so he could have gotten snatched up. So,
and who they had? They put Tanner Gentry and Isaiah Hodgins on the practice squad. On there, do you kind of actually see that it was expected on there when they actually took 7?
Yeah.
See, now we know it's 6, but when they put 7 in there, do you think it's the right?
Last year we took 6, right? And we only and then most weeks we only had 5. Was it? Who did? Obviously, refresh my memory, because I'm wondering, how did Kumro make it this year but not last year? Was it Sanders took over for John Brown, but who else did we lose? Who was our 6th last year?
Not 100% sure, but I think Kumaro, he came halfway through the season.
Yeah, so he did. Yes. Yeah. But he only played 1 week. He was inactive for all the other ones.
Yeah, a couple of weeks, didn't he?
I don't know. I just don't remember who our number 6 wide receiver was last year.
Yeah, it wasn't Andre Roberts.
No, it was Andre Roberts. Yeah. Kick returner.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. There we go. Guy you forget about.
Yeah.
There's always one.
So I mean, touchdown Jesus as now see everyone now refers him to. We're not going to really see much from him. The one thing, I'm just talking practice squad here. The one thing I'm kind of surprised he didn't put onto the practice squad, even though we only signed him just for the last preseason game, was that Stephen Sims Jr. Who is almost like an Isaiah McKenzie clone and younger. So I would have thought they would at least try to snatch him onto the practice squad.
Could be a situation where we just go sign him again next offseason.
True.
Wherever he's signed, it's not going to be a multi-year deal.
He's on practice squad of, I can't remember who now. He's been signed to a practice squad, so we can take him.
Yeah.
If needs be, but we'll see on that one.
Yeah. It was someone posted a highlight reel of him getting open, and Bills Mafia was like, "Oh, this guy is going to be great. He's going to be a sleeper for our team this year." And I mean, obviously we just get really excited about anybody wearing the jersey, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely. So, I think it's a position where we knew it was going to be those 6.
Yeah.
I think maybe Hodgins, if he hadn't had the injury and all that, maybe it would have been the battle between him and Kumaro for that spot. I think Stevenson,
he's sticking around. He might get on a roster bar an injury to somebody. So McKenzie maybe misses week 1. Someone might fill that spot. So we'll see.
Tight end, obviously Reggie Gillen. We're going to put him as a tight end on there. Dawson Knox, Tommy Sweeney, and Jacob Hollister cut with Quinton Morris, and I told her how to pronounce his name. It's Kahale Waring.
Haley Waring. I don't know. I'm not sure, but I mean, that this is a big talking point, because everybody who critiques the Bills is going to say we didn't get enough out of tight end last year.
Mm-hmm.
And I just want to say, I don't know how to say this without being an asshole. Do you watch the games? We're good. Not you, but I'm saying in general, people who complain about tight end production. You're gonna take targets away from Diggs, Beasley, Davis, Sanders to give to a tight end I'll put the ball in any of those guys' hands. Singletary, Moss, Breed, I'll put the ball in their hands over a tight end any day. It's not our offensive philosophy. It's not our offensive identity. There's only three in the league that are game breakers, Waller, Kelsey, and Kittle.
Yeah.
I mean, when it was Gronk, it was, he was in there, but he's aged out of that. It's a position that if you have a superstar, you're lucky. And it's just, we realize what we have. It's a bit player, and everyone's like, remember when Hollister got signed by Jacksonville? They're like, another weapon for Trevor Lawrence. Weapon?
Yeah.
Weapon. Do we know what that word means? Come on. 30 catches a year is a weapon? Calm down, everybody.
If you're talking Jacksonville, it's definitely a weapon for them. For us, it's just another bullet. It's just
weapon indicates the player. Weapon indicates the player. Jacob Hollister's not a weapon. If anything, he should have stuck here because he played ball with Allen. He had Allen absolutely probably being like, hey, can we keep this guy? And if he couldn't stick with that kind of backing, then he doesn't need to be on the roster. Let's not overreact about this.
Yeah, I think he had a good training camp. I mean, it was a case that it was the numbers game really for him with the defensive line, which we're going to go into, and obviously with the couple of injury IR guys, Stevenson being one of them, he was cut, and obviously when we talk about special teams, our good friend Reed Ferguson was cut, but obviously brought back. There's the one thing that did shock me that they didn't bring him back, but maybe it's what they've seen from Gillum and how sometimes that the ball wants to go with two tight end sets, or was used to that in Alabama and New England when he had Hernandez and Gronkowski, that maybe he sees Gillum and Sweeney as those bookend blockers and just obviously sprinkle Knox in every so often. Knox is not really...
If you were going to go double tight end, if you were going to go backup tight end, Gillum will give you exactly what Hollister will give you, and I'm not upset about that at all. I mean, you got to say... I mean, come on, you pick Gilliam over Hollister, wouldn't you?
I'd pick Gilliam for the team. I'd pick Gilliam over Tywan Jones.
Yeah.
To be honest. So I'm kind of happy that he actually did make it, because he is that weapon. We know he now can run the ball. He can block. He can play tight end. He can play special teams. He's pretty much
He's a weapon.
He's a weapon. He's an OW.
Oh man.
What they gave Tim Tebow when he first came over, designated him an OW, offensive weapon.
Oh, so bad. What a joke. What a joke.
But we had obviously, and it's good to see that I think with the they got Quinton Morris back on the practice squad, because he is pretty much a wide receiver in a tight end body, and he puts a bit of weight on, just refines the tight end position.
Yeah,
I think he'll be another valuable chess piece for this offense in maybe a couple of years time. But are you just last bit on this before we go on to the offensive line? Are you worried about Dawson Knox again shouldering responsibility and having Tommy Sweeney, who's not had that much game time in the couple of years due to injuries and COVID?
Where did we rank in tight end targets last year?
I have no idea.
20,
You're the stats guy.
29th.
Okay. So you're not worried.
We ran the least amount of tight end formation. We used the tight end the least amount last year in the NFL. We ran 11 or 10 personnel all season long. Knox was sprinkled in. He will be sprinkled in again. It's not something that we can use. Or if it's not something that we will use, it's just not Daboll's favorite thing. But, you have to have one on the roster. Or maybe they just don't think Knox is that reliable. I mean, we've seen it. He's a coin flip kind of player, and you don't win a Super Bowl relying on those kinds of players. If he cleans it up, then I'll eat my words gladly. I hope every single player on this roster is a Pro Bowler, but there's not a single team in the NFL that does everything well. And we're a really good team in the NFL, and we just don't happen to do tight end well, and I'm okay with that.
Yeah. So offensive line, Morse, Dawkins, Williams, Feliciano Ford, Ryan Bates, Bottiger, Brown, and Doyle, with Jack Anson, Jamil Douglas on the practice squad. One name that I'm sad that's not on that list is everyone's favorite tackle, Mr. Bobby Hart. He should really be on there. No, God, he's not.
I'm just gonna hang up on you right now.
But no, any surprises really there? I mean,
I think the biggest surprise is that McDermott said the starting five hasn't been nailed down yet.
true. Well,
And that's
your bookends.
your four. Yeah, it comes down to Ford or Butker. Yeah, I think it is, right?
Yeah.
So, okay, I think that'll be a rotation all year. I think Ford just needs to get comfortable, get angry, really get smacked around in that first week, and then I think he'll be all right.
I think what we've seen from him in the limited game time he's had in preseason and in the practices is that he does look that more like he's really got that hunger in him now. He's got that physicality now that he's actually ready to make a spot. And now he knows that he's going to be pretty much officially a guard player.
Yeah.
It's going to be a lot more easier for him to actually just focus on the nuisance and actually the technique really to get this to get sorted.
Sure. Yeah. That's let's hope we don't talk about it all year. Let's hope he doesn't make like a glaring mistake multiple times a game. It's one of those things. We'll see.
Yeah. So what we got next? We go defensive defensive end.
Yep.
Again, no surprises on there. Obviously, Daryl Johnson gone for the 6th round to the Panthers. Jerry Hughes, Mario Addison, Epinesa, Russo, Basham, and of course, Mr. Obada in there.
I was really upset how Twitter wanted to trade him.
Yeah.
I was like, no, don't do that to us over here. There's like 7 of us here that
you've seen it, but no, I think
there's more than 7 of us over here.
There's a few more. That's 8. That's 8 of us.
Yeah.
But no, I think with Obada, I think I had him pretty much nailed on, and I stuck my guns to him that he was going to get that roster just for his versatility. And again, it's what I like. I mean, you've got Russo who can play inside. You've got Basham that can play inside. So you've got the experience. You've got the youth. You've got the AJ Epinesa in the middle, who's a bit of who can be now classed as a bit of both in there. But I think it wasn't really a shock. I mean, Mike Love has gone to the practice squad, and Brian Cox Jr. was already on the season-ending IR on there. So, really, was there any shocks in
terms of picking the players? No, absolutely not. It's just I could do without Addison and Butler being on this roster, honestly, but I think you want to have those veteran guys just for one more year, It's clear that we're all in love with Rousseau, but there's a high possibility that he hits a brick wall some point during the season.
Yeah.
So you're going to want to have Addison to get those reps.
Yeah. And this is what we said on the on our what if episode, so go back and check that out. Obviously, with the likes of Hughes, when you said you want to hypothetically cut Hughes, and obviously we're talking about Addison, this is where they would come in handy. If Rousseau, who we have a high praise on and high put pressure on, actually does hit that brick wall, at least you've got an Addison and a Hughes there to sprinkle it in. And
I just don't want to see too much Addison with Rousseau not getting anything.
Oh yeah, I don't.
If we start the season with a veteran presence, then I think that will put us at a disadvantage. I want to see more Epinesa, Obada, and Rousseau rather than Hughes, Addison.
Yeah. So defensive tackle: Oliver Starr, Harrison Phillips, Justin Zimmer, and Vernon Butler.
Yep.
Trevor Hester on season-ending IR, and Brandon Bryant onto the practice squad. My thoughts there is Butler. Maybe they've kept him on there just because they don't know what the situation is with Harry.
Yeah.
he may still be there, so they need that surgical backup. Maybe when Phillips is actually back, Butler may be off on the waiver wire on there. So
Yeah, and there's a possibility that Starr needs some time, so we'll see on that as well. I mean, we know he kept up with his conditioning, but there's no replacement for getting smacked in the face. I mean, these are the big dirties, I mean, it's tough to simulate what they go through every week. So
I'm hoping that we see a new star. I've seen him, I think in the Packers game and some of the videos, you've seen him now develop a little bit of a pass rush. It may be minimal, and it was probably against third string teams, but he's refining that and becoming that well-rounded one tech that we're gonna rely on.
Yeah, I mean, there's only one of two ways it can go for Starr. The year off hurt him, or the year off re-energized him.
Yeah.
Jumping into a 17-game season also, I'm not that optimistic about it. And I think that's why we kept Butler around.
Yeah. So any surprises when we go on to the linebacker? Edmonds, Milano, Klein, Matakevich, Smith, and Tyrell Dodson.
Yeah, I
with
mean,
Giles Harris on the
maybe one too many.
You think?
Maybe Andre Smith, maybe good for him.
I think on my 53, I had Dodson missing out and Andre Smith making it.
Yeah.
A because of obviously not just the hit he had on Justin Fields, but the fact that he has played quite well. He's actually shone up in the preseason games when you want him to on there. And Dodson, I didn't really see much of him. And even though last year I was praising him, I was actually on the boat for him. I think he's had a bit of an off time, and I think that Smith had overtook him. Now, whether Dodson will see any time or if he's going to be inactive most of the time, who knows? But I think Smith, judging by his plays in preseason and practices, I think he's shown enough to actually be a good replacement, a serviceable backup for Milano and maybe even AJ Klein if we start playing three linebackers in there. He's got that speed and he's got that coverage ability.
And I think for me, it's with this next position is where I would have wanted one more player, one less linebacker, one more corner is kind of what I feel is what we should do. I mean, it's a passing league. If you got a team that trots out a 5 wide on a really important third down, and Trey White is gassed, or if Levi Wallace is gassed, you don't want them out there at 50%, huffing and puffing.
Exactly.
That's where maybe having Cam Lewis on the roster would help. And again, it could be a situation where, he's the call up, most weeks. So, I mean, that's fine, I guess.
I'm kind of surprised where there was some good corners or some serviceable corners that came off the wire where of cuts that they didn't at least try and pick one of those up or even try and get one onto the practice squad on there. But
that's a good point. I mean, most years I'm looking at, who got cut? Who can we go get? But that's when we used to suck. I mean, we're really good at football now. So like, I'm not really looking like, what we're missing one piece and it's a fourth corner, like I'm not in that mindset anymore. So like, I don't even know who's like notable cuts. Didn't care. I love our roster.
So then obviously there's the 5 as we pretty much all expected: White, Johnson, Saran Neal, Levi Wallace, Dane Jackson, with Cam Lewis, Elijah Griffin, and Rashad Wildgoose as the practice squad players. And it was fun. I don't know if you saw the tweet by Mike Carlson where he said he was looking forward to seeing Wildgoose take on Jamar Chase. Wildgoose Chase.
Yeah. Okay. Golf clap.
But and then safety, there wasn't really any controversy there. Hyde, Poyer, Jaquan Johnson, DeMar Hamlin. Kind of surprised, especially like like with cornerback, they didn't get rid of the linebacker and maybe have Josh Thomas, who's on the practice squad, on there. But
Now, I
that's
don't
pretty
think you
much
need
set in
five
stone.
safeties. If anything, it's wouldn't we have brought Marlowe back and gotten rid of, one of the other guys?
But I think there's not really much anything we can do, anything really can say on there. We know Hyde and Poyer are going to be your main guys. Johnson, when coming in relief, has actually played well, so he is naturally going to be the first choice backup to either one of those two. And the two youngsters, they both have their own unique skill sets, and either one of them could have got that last spot or that practice squad spot. So don't be surprised
Just
to
on
see
the
Josh Thomas.
in the secondary, I'm just worried about how many I know how many reps Ron Neal's going to get.
If he's on the inside, if he's in the
Yeah,
slot,
yeah, that's where he's got to be. Yeah, yeah.
outside, no.
More. I know we a lot of love for Taron Johnson, but he got beat a bit last year as well. So
Yeah,
I think this is what we'll talk about all year. We'll nitpick about secondary, but the whole point is possibly we were upset about secondary last year because we weren't getting quarterback pressure. Now we're expecting more quarterback pressure, and that should help the secondary. So maybe we won't be too picky about that this year.
yeah. And then finally, the last position was again set in stone. Tyler Bass, Matt Hawk, and Reed Ferguson after being released and then put him back on just for the numbers game I'm assuming it's for the Marquez Stevenson thing, taking him on, putting him on to IR, then bringing Reed Ferguson back onto the roster. So
yeah, I hope that now that it's time for actual important games, Reed Ferguson can spend more time about worrying about American football and less time worrying about the Premier League. Dude's crushing it in our fantasy league. And it's just like, I know I'm at the bottom. I have no shot. I don't know what I'm doing, but he's in first place, and that's kind of
I
cool.
know, I'm kind of annoyed about that. I should be up there.
You would. I don't know. I'm getting advice from guys at work about who to play, so I don't know what I'm doing.
Plus you're Arsenal. You're Arsenal. You're used to being in the bottom now. You're bottom in the Premier League. You're bottom in fantasy.
So bad.
Yeah, it's a thing now.
Don't want to talk about it.
No, but I think it's a good 53. I mean, it's a strong 53. Yeah. I mean, I did put a tweet out that there were a couple of players that I wanted to see them actually look at. They've all been, I think all of them been signed up, I think. But I would have loved them to take a flyer on Kenny Yeboah, Pierre Desir, who was released, Lorenzo Neal Jr., who is a beast of a nose tackle who could try and smash onto that practice squad.
Just so deep at that position. Let me ask you two questions. What position are we better at than last year?
I would say two. Well, no, technically, wide receiver, we're still the same on there. I would say defensive end.
And what position are we worse at last year?
Worse at this year?
Yeah, this year compared to last year, what position got worse?
Tight end.
And that, how great is that? Because that doesn't matter. Our offense was amazing last year without it. So this is a solid freaking roster, and I can't wait for Sunday, man. Yeah.
So it's pretty much all systems go now. We got pretty much just over 1 week, and we're live on Sky. First game live on Sky.
Yep.
Which is good. Hopefully this will be a sign of things to come regarding that. But we'll
talk about that next week. We got 2 shows coming early next week before the games. So look out, pay attention on the YouTube and on the podcast.
What I want to say and what we've done on Twitter is we just want you to reach out to a Bills fan or someone who is into American football but hasn't chosen that team, especially in the UK. Reach out to them, get these Bills fans over to us, get them listening to the podcast, get them interacting on Twitter. We can build this fan base up, and I want to put a challenge out there to not just UK followers, but to our friends in America and around the world. We're on 3,912 followers. Can we get to at least 4,000 before Sunday? I wanted to at least try and get to 4,500 followers, but can we get to 4,000 followers by Sunday?
Here's what
So,
breaks my heart. Miami's got 10,000.
yeah.
Now we had to redo it. You know, this is our second Twitter. So, you know, it is what it is, you like to say. But yeah, let's compete. Let's show the rest of the UK that the Bills Mafia is here.
So if you see anyone that likes American football, hasn't got a team, you get them onto the Bills bandwagon. If you see or know any Bills fans out there, get them involved, get them onto the socials, onto the podcast itself. Let's make sure we can go above the Dolphins, the Jags. I think
the Jets have a good amount too, isn't it? Yeah.
Jets have a
you know the saying.
amount.
You know the saying from all the social media people: like, share, and subscribe. I only care about that second one. Share. Share.
So look out for us at UK_Bills on Twitter, RWBB_podcast on Twitter, Buffalo Bills UK on Facebook, Buffalo Bills UK on YouTube. Hit the like and subscribe button for when these go out, and our What If series and all other content go out. Be the first to see it. And also UK_Bills on Instagram. Like, follow, share, rate, review, word of mouth, whatever you can do to get traffic to us and get this fan base growing in the UK. Do it. Say Matt and Alex sent you. If not, we're going to find the heavies and send them round.
Yeah. In the UK, it's a real mafia, so look out.
Exactly. So anything else before we disappear, Alex?
I have a fantasy draft in 10 minutes. Let's wrap it up.
So on that note, for Matt and Alex, is good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Thank you for listening. Keep subscribing and liking. And let's go Buffalo. Go Bills.
Go Bills.